Okay, viewers, episode 115. For some reason I have to do a miniature calculation in my head every time I do an intro. Of the challenge series is upon us. And for once I'm not recording at like 2 in the morning, I'm recording basically right at noon, so... it means I can be louder, but it also means I can be interrupted. Say that like I'm not interrupted at 2 in the morning, but... it's even more likely, because there's 2 extra people that could waltz on down here and try to start a conversation. Yeah, week 115, episode 115, whatever terminology. And you start things off, I think, literally the way we started off the whole series. The 675 class here at Fuji. I guess it would have been the 680 class back then, but that's besides the point. It's like 85% of the same vehicles anyway, but you get the idea. And we are away from Fuji Speedway, and a driver that I routinely forget is even in the series is today's POV driver, Kazuo Kasai, as I get punted by Jake on the side of the screen there. I don't know if you saw that. That was... I certainly did, and I certainly felt it. That was not enjoyable. I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure it actually damaged my car. Yeah, it did. So that was fun. My luck at Fuji is really pathetic. At least this time I didn't break an arm. Kasai not making massive progress just yet. I kind of wish he wouldn't. I really don't personally like this guy. And there's at least one other person in the series that doesn't either. Not in this race, though, from my recollection. I don't know. No, I don't think Kotori was here. I wouldn't know. I never saw her because I, ran in the back as a kid, but... there is exactly one new car, and I do say it's a new car because it's not technically a new car, but it's not a new driver either. Quick math. 80 episodes, 80 weeks removed from the last time that she's been seen on the grid. The original founder of the challenge series, Gina Turini, returns to the grid. And half the cars behind her are immediately making for the pit lane, including Penny, Yo, myself. Turn 1 is always a bit of a mess here. I don't think that anybody really needed me to tell them that. It's always cringe at Fuji. Lap 1, turn 1. 80 to 9x7, that is crazy. Yeah, Gina has, I believe that's a refurbished RX-7. That's not the same one that she drove originally, because that was totaled. But it is another FC RX-7 with a completely different set of upgrades done to it and all that, but hence why it ends up in the 675 class when it used to be her 640 class car originally was an FC3S. She's currently under threat from Barbara. She's just been overtaken by Kazuo, who's made his way into the 7th position and looking right at the top 5, except they're fighting in front of him, so that not really achieved what this exact moment. A very familiar duo of drivers sits 1-2, with Stephanie and Eric leading the way. Noir not too far back in 3rd, make it a 3-4 for NFR. Oh, suddenly, now he is in 5th as he descends it on the Mustang of Grimes. And hanging around the outside, you see Grimes has finally remembered to put the number back on this car. Outdrags Nico, kind of embarrassing her on the straightaway, actually. I don't think she got a very good run out of the last turn. The field is kinda single file. We got Grimes looking for a move on Nico, and I think he's gonna get it. You have to hold the outside, or you can just out-drag the Supra and be cleared that way. That'll also work. Barbara's joining the battle as well. So Nico's kind of plummeting. Noir and Eric have also fallen to the RX-7 driver. And Noir is keen to also try and overtake the Ferrari at the same time. We'll see if she can find any kind of success with that. It doesn't seem like it, at least not here. So now it is getting a little bit darker for Nico. It is now down to like a basically, well, 2-7-10, or like 4-7-10 for NFR's representatives, and then we have Fenny and among the drivers who got damage on lap 1. All 7 of them. Alice Marguerite is the lowest running driver who didn't get damage on lap 1. Gina not making the biggest statement as she debuts here either. FCRX7 clearly not prepared for this circuit. But as we cross the line to take 2 laps to go, we're going to be looking at a battle for the lead right here, right now. The RX-7 of Kasai has caught Stephanie Kaiser. I think I just saw somebody dive to the pits in the background. Nico, yeah, something hit her. Very late braking from Daniel Grimes, and gets right into the back of her. Does not damage the Mustang, probably because of the material that the bumper is made out of, because this thing is kind of armored, like, not unlike Logan's Camaro. But Nico's Toyota is not armored, for obvious reasons, so Daniel Grimes did sneak ahead of her after the contact, but the rear end damage probably didn't help her pace, and therefore didn't help her keep the Mustang away. But as we check in with the leaders as they head towards turn 1 back in present time, Stephanie with a little bit of late braking and basically cuts him off at the pass. Some would call that unsportsmanlike to move in the braking like that though, so probably don't do that too often or you might just get turned for your troubles. The long right-hander. Saya's got the nerve to try and send it around out there. He might get that done if he brakes late enough. He does not. Stephanie again. Latest to the brakes and kind of just cuts off his escape plan at the apex, more or less. Doing that sort of braking it's kind of one of those weird things where it's not dirty, you're not hitting them, but it's also not really, it's not really the normal way you battle for position by just braking later than them and tuning in on them and just assuming that you'll be clear. But it's a very quick way to get spun out. Either because you turned across them or just because they're tired of your shit, one way or the other. Crossover after crossover, Kazuo trying to outdo the Porsche in the hairpins is kind of, it seems to me like a bit of a farce. I don't really think you're gonna have a whole lot of luck with that. You might as well wait for the straightaway where the Porsches are almost always gonna be a little less than ideal. This 996 is among the best Porsches in terms of relative top speed power, or top end power. But most other Porsches fall apart on a straightaway. Oh, Stephanie a little loose under braking there. But Kazuo was forced to the outside and could not make anything happen out there. Barbara overtaking Noir on the exit of turn 1. Seems to have been a late braking technique, combined with the amount of top speed that C3 Corvette gets. Barbara started this race in like 17th, but she's worked her way almost into the top 3. She very well still could get there too. Speaking of getting there, my god, Stephanie sends it at the, I believe that would be turn 5. Nearly contact, nothing there though, as we brake for the first of the hairpins. And again, Stephanie uses that same tactic, or tries, but then she gets a bit of understeer. Over and under from the RX-7, but still not able to finish the job. consecutive crossovers. I guess that's what these hairpins are here for, ain't it? And now it's basically shaping up to be a drag race on the front straightaway. Another crossover administered from Kasai. Didn't know expressly drivers like him really had that racecraft baked in, but either way, the Porsche still got a really good run despite all of that. Right up to the start-finish line. Ooh, that is a very small margin. Stephanie is going to win it by a splitter, maybe. And final confirmations say that the margin of victory is 0.7 thousandths to the Porsche driver. That has got to be one of the closest finishes in the Challenge Series. And Eric is going to narrowly hang on to third, where there are more laps that might have been at serious risk. Noir fifth. And on her return to the grid, Gina Turini will only bring home a mere 11th place. Only beating, well, basically Alice, and then cars that were damaged throughout the race, and that is it. And I bring home a grand total of last place. Thanks, Jake. Appreciate it. Fucker. The second race of the week remains in the Asian region as we head to the Tokyo Expressways, another very familiar sight here in the Challenge Series. And quite so outside of it as well, for completely separate reasons. But, yeah, the 715 category hits the track at the good old Gemini layout today. Even though the camera is actually looking at it like from the wrong direction. This is the Gemini layout. There we go, that's more accurate there. Oh, my back itches. My head itches. It's just moving around. It's like whack-a-mole with dry skin. I need to shower. Basically. But I don't really want to do that right now. We are green from Tokyo, and I just saw somebody with a really good start there. That would, of course, be the... No. What was that? Oh, that was an Evo. Oh, yeah. I don't know how the hell it has taken this long for us to see an Evo 9 in the Challenge Series. One of, like... Well, I mean, I know why, but that's metagame. One of, like, the most well-known JDM cars to ever be made, and Yo Watanabe will be debuting the first one here today. In the 715 category. The first Evo to get over 675 in this series. She and Cam both got rocket race starts considering four-wheel drive, but Yo's quickly being swallowed up by the pack. I say that, she's only been passed by one car. We are on board with Liam Cobley in his 2006 Ford GT for 24 Racing Team. His fellow drivers on that team, both of them are also in the race. He's just passed Jason Gans. And Thomas Necht is not too far off the running order. My God, Riley was sideways there. The chaos of the mid-pack as Yo's already fallen down 2 more places to Ellie and 3 more, excuse me. Eric, Barbara, and Ellie have all overtaken her, and just the time I was looking away to introduce the PRV driver. Stephanie trying to make her way up the field. Having just won at Fuji, it would have been, you know, a little more than a day ago. Liam already into the top 10. Not quite getting, oh no, maybe getting more actually. Riley's momentum stalled out there. Never mind. No, he's not. Watanabe continues to find herself under pressure. Stephanie is a very intimidating driver if she's filling up your rearview mirrors, and that Carrera is probably going to have a pretty big straight line advantage when she gets a lane. But here comes Cobley on the outside of the two, although it's not going to be quite a 3 wide moment as that'll all clear up before we get to the braking zone. I thought there was smoke being picked up, but I think that's just haze. And yeah, that Lancer, very clearly more of a straight, or more, not a straight line capable car, just getting dusted on every single one of the straightaways we're coming across here. And there are a few of them. So that's gonna bite. I think she probably could have saved this for a different track. But track time is track time. And she knows that better than most in our alliance, that's for sure. I look away for a few moments and Liam Cubley has already made his way into the top 10. Surrounded by Germans, out-dragging Michael Krieger, heading down into the tunnel. Down towards in the tunnel. Yeah, that's excellent speech ahead of Eric Wojciechowski onto the podium position. Now only has Cam Walker and Brian Ice to overtake before he is bound for the race lead. Honestly, I thought we would have seen Stephanie making a couple more passes by now. Yo has now slipped outside of the top 10 just as quickly as she got into it, just about. So she just started there. That's how she got into it, dum-dum. Nobody has been damaged in this race thus far. Thomas next running last in his Group 3 4 GT. And Gina also in this race debuting an RX-8. A very interesting livery on that car. Like, you know, her FC RX-7 was pretty much a remix of her original design with like the colors swapped around, but here not so much. Oh boy. Well, I see we're back on this, are we? Why am I not surprised? This may be expanding beyond the Watkins Glen event that these two had. Although it was Thomas Neck that got in before, and Cam got payback, and now Thomas's teammate Liam gives him a bit of a bumper grease as well, and more relevantly, more damage to his R8. Gotta love that. And despite having more damage of his own now, Liam Cubley is not too deterred. He's gonna try the outside of Brian Ice for the lead. That is wishful thinking and a half. Is that seriously gonna work? Well, scrape the wall, but he almost got it, and now he's gonna cross him over on exit. But he's again gonna be on the wrong lane, or the outside lane for the braking zone up here. Might not matter if he clears him at the braking point. He does not. Ice gets down the inside and remains the leader here. T-shirt is having a problem. Crossover administered. You've seen plenty of those today, that's for sure. As the sun rises on the expressways of Tokyo, Japan, and Liam Cubley is officially pulling away with the lead, front bumper damage and all. God, all the Germans are sitting back here. Barbara, Krieger, Kaiser, and a German car with Ellie. This is a clusterfuck. Krieger almost washes out to the wall, Barbara basically running for her life. Stephanie moves to 6th in that endeavor. And her fellow Porsche driver almost followed her through ahead of the M2, but not quite. Also bars. And Cam is now forced to pit as his rear bumper has been heavily damaged by the stupidity of Liam Cubley's braking zone selection. Stephanie's looking for more. She's on the back of Paige. Ice has not completely lost the plot with the Ford GT, but he's getting a slightly more comfortable margin as time goes on. Eric is under threat too. He's not exactly got a lot of space between him and the others. As here comes Stephanie Kaiser as we begin the final lap, looking for 4th place as the Carrera driver down the inside. Contact made as Stephanie gets a bit of understeer through turn 1, but the contact really having no noticeable impact on anything. Corvette's swapping positions in the background. Satoshi moves himself to to 8th position behind this. Oh, don't hit him. Oh, she hit him. Not gonna affect his results since this is the final lap, but that's still another repair that the Firenze team, or really just Eric, I think he could probably repair that on his own. That's not big damage. That's probably just like a dent or a couple of scrapes, but it's still, you know, and then Stephanie is gonna have damage on her own car, so not that I don't really think the Porsche aging mechanics are really that upset about it. I mean, it's a minorly misbraking zone. Oh, that was close. I don't know. I don't know how Krieger got that kind of momentum, but it almost got him ahead of Barbara Page in a bit of a surprise attack from the M2. Bumper to bumper, heading up to the hairpin. Stephanie does not pull aside, or now she does. She just had to wait a minute. Sneaks half her car alongside, forces Eric to change his lane, but they are not done yet. We're gonna head up to the S's, too wide between the two of them. A former rivalry turned friendship, but they still race aggressively. I don't think that's ever gonna change, especially not Stephanie. Eric doesn't really race that aggressively, but Stephanie will, just because that's in her blood. And Liam Cubley will take 24 Racing Team's first victory, albeit not by the cleanest means here from Tokyo Expressway. Bryant Ice, second place. I believe he started there. Stephanie third, not starting there, starting like 10th or 11th. And Eric fourth after starting, I believe, on third or on pole. He started near the front, I know that. And another really just underwhelming debut. Two debuts, really, that just did not hit very hard. 17th and 18th for the two new cars today. Yo's Evo 9 dropping from basically, I believe, starting 5th to 3rd off the green flag and finishing 17th. Gina, I believe, started 10th or 11th and ends up in 18th, only beating, I believe, I was told that Setsuko had some problems with her brakes, and Cam, who got damage courtesy of our race winner halfway through the event. So really, this has not been the week to show off a new car, that's for sure. Gina 17th at Fuji, Yo 17th here, Gina 18th here. I know we have more cars debuting this week besides that, including another one for Gina. She's brought 3 cars to the fold from the outset. And considering she never even had 3 before, she only ever had 2 at most. Her excuse me, her FC and an a custom FD3S based on the Rei Amamiya body kit. That also got totaled. So here we are. But yeah, we'll go now into race 3. And I believe that's actually where we will find Gina's third and final car. And the midway point of this week episode. I guess that works. 115. Brings us to Interlagos. It's been a bit longer than usual since we've been here. This is usually one of the biggest breeding grounds for the Challenge Series. Usually we head here at least twice a month. This is probably the first time in a handful of weeks we've been here. And it's most common category, the 640 class, will take to the track here. As you know, as has happened time and time again. Obviously, we keep doing it because that combination does usually provide some good races. So we'll have to see if that status quo is maintained here as we head into the action. And we are green from Brazil / Interlagos. And man, what a rocket start from a car that started in 4th, but he's looking at the lead. Logan Cool with quite the start off the grid. He's going to get ahead of 2 cars and looking for a 3rd overtake as we head through turn 3. Too wide with Connor Nazang is the Camaro driver, and he will have the advantage through 4. God, that EK has got some surprising speed. He's gonna outbrake the Camaro. I almost said the Civic. Yeah, he's gonna outbrake himself. Well, actually, that is a terminology, and that's something you don't want to do. Logan not done yet. He's gonna still fight his way ahead through turns 4 and 5. And Logan Cool will lead us through the consecutive hairpins, because apparently you've got a thing for hairpins this week. And the debuting cars of this race are running 3-4 behind them. The quietest Lamborghini I've ever heard, battling with Gina and a Mazda 3 touring car. And no, that's not a farce. That's actually like a car that she has. She apparently, for those who are not in the know, whilst she was not in the Challenge Series, she was mostly a frequent visitor of the Tokyo Expressway street racing scene, from which we've picked up many a driver. Take your pick of Iwasaki, Setsuko Kuro, Shiro Sasaki, fucking Katamatsu, so on and so forth. Gina Turini took over leadership of a gang, Twister, and made it her own. But along the way, while she wasn't doing that, she was honing her skills on the professional circuit too, running select Super Taikyu events for Mazda Spirit Racing, including 1 or 2 races in this Mazda 3 touring car. She is, well, I mean, she's redesigned it because this is not a factory effort. It is the car that she drove, but not the livery. And she's been overtaken by Dom DePrisco, the 2 debuting cars of this race, fighting hard for the positions. I don't know why my brain forgot how to talk there. Dom will get ahead for now. 1974 Countach at his disposal. You know, Pacific Spirit Racing always able to throw money to bring some really special cars to the grid like this one. I mean, Mika Harris has a GT40, and Burt Wheeler is the POV driver. He's not really been the point of view thus far in this race, but he is the prospective driver, and he's already made his way up to P2. Potentially, yes, he should be clear of the Civic there, and oh boy. Do I even need to say it? I think we both know where this is going, considering the history that these two have shared in the last month or so. This race is about to get derailed, I reckon. I don't know, maybe things will stay calm. Light contact, yeah, I mean, I could be worse. Oh, he's going, nope, there's door-to-door contact made between the Camaro and the F-150, but not really slowing down either car. Somebody just had damage there. That is Jake Scarborough. That's fucking karma, asshole. I'm pretending to be mad. Contextually mad, but not besides that. Oh, there's a corner panel attempt. Oh, that has just massively failed. A save. So can't deny that's a good save, but he shouldn't have had to make it if he just drove like a normal fucking person. I'm just saying. Didn't have to save that car if you just, you know, keep your temper a little bit. Dom and Connor fighting for third in the background as the 2 leaders still scuffle. Oh, Logan gives it back a little bit. 2 cars are damaged now. Rear-end collision at one of the previous turns. There's another one. There's another attempt. There's a more successful attempt, but that actually puts Vert in the grass. That's going to lose him more time than it ever lost Logan, who saves the car pretty cleanly. An attempted pit maneuver, but Logan just drives out of the slide. Suspension damage dealt, and that's going to ruin his race, but he will not spin. Dom also has damage. Well, fuck was that, Vert? Well, Dom was doing well with the debuting Countach, but now because somebody up there can't keep his dick in his pants, now his fancy Countach has got a bunch of suspension damage. Ooh, that was close with the braking zone. Gina's picking up the pieces, though. You know, having just overtaken Connor on track, Dom Burt and Logan are all having damage. Gina's gonna inherit the lead here in just a moment. Yep, Dom goes in. Those two follow each other in. Burt making contact on the way in. That is a safety violation usually if you make contact on the pit entry of a track. And now suddenly the top three, really top four of the race has completely changed. Gina is your new race leader. Connor back to second, Mika third, after her teammate has been wrongly taken out of contention here. But she's stepped up in her Mustang to get to the top three from somewhere just outside the top five, I believe, in the starting grid. And Kurara Suzushiro, who very much likes this track. I don't think she's missed a race here at Interlagos since she joined the series. Call her a bit of a ringer, I suppose, but she's running fourth place, but with not enough pace to keep up with the lead three, and is in fact under big pressure from Jeremiah Wood behind her. And Reika Mishima, who, might I add, started this race, I believe, in 18th. So she's been on the move too. This race looks dramatically different now. Despite getting damaged, they're not in the back. As a matter of fact, a lot of people have been wrecked in this race. Yeah, skill issue? Do you remember how to use a steering wheel, Burt Wheeler? I know driving is really hard and you have to go through all this effort to pass the license tests and shit. But is this really necessary? Do I even want to look away from this? I did not, no. So after finally fishing his car out of the grass, he gets side bashed by Logan Cool. They slide back across the track, and that has destroyed the F-150 for the race. And I think he's earned that. He's earned something, that's for sure. That's a big wad of damage. It's gonna relegate that truck for a while. And because we started the final lap, that ends the race right then and there. So a bit of a reversal from what I had said at the end of the last race. Gina Turini is going to actually get a win in her first week back here, driving her Mazda Group 3, her Mazda 3 Group Touring car. And, yeah. That's quite a big, it's quite a thing, I guess. I don't know how to respond to that. Connor Nazang gets second, exactly where he started. Mika Harris climbs to third, and probably could have taken a shot at P2 from the Civic driver if the race didn't have to end under such plain stupid situation back here. These two are going to have to get a talking to, especially. I mean, their teams as a whole are going to have to be given a bit of a reprimand, but Vert especially has just been... He's the kind of person you expect a little better from. Like, not only did he start this whole thing, but he's doing a piss-poor job of ending it, and has instead just ended his own race, and the race as a whole, because he can't keep his frickin' anger in check for 12 seconds. He sees that blue Camaro, and he starts seeing red instead. I don't see how that functions, but regardless, that will round things off. There's a vacuum for race 3. So hopefully we won't see Vert Wheeler in race 4. And the penultimate race of this week brings us to Road Atlanta. I almost said Road America. No, you wish. You wish Polyphony would add more tracks to the damn game. No, you've gotten one track so far in the second year of GT7's existence. Literally, we've got Lake Louise. That was the last thing we got, and that was on Christmas, I think. Actually, that was like the November update. But either way, enough tearing into Polyphony, because plenty of other people are doing that for me. Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. And the 600 class, so gonna be slightly on the longer end, even with just a 4-lap event here. And we are green from Road Atlanta. I don't even know how these cars back here can even see, like, the starting lights or anything. But we head into turn 1. Sarah O'Donnell is the POV driver in her Honda Integra. And there are a lot of Hondas in this race, because, yeah, there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, I thought there were more than that. 3, so, and, well, 4, because Sarah's car, and 3 of those Hondas are Integras. Pepper Mills leads the way with her brand new, it's new to the series, but it's a 1995 Integra, as opposed to the 1988 models we've been seeing up to this point, pretty much by everyone else who's had an Integra, like Joseph Miller and Sarah O'Donnell themselves. There's chaos in the midfield as one vehicle sticks out jarringly amongst the rest. A Suzuki Jimny! Driven, of course, by Riho Futaba, because who else would drive a car that looks this goofy in the Challenger Series besides her? A K car with an engine from a different Suzuki model, Suzuki Swift as I understand it. Oh, big contact, really getting in the back of somebody again. This time finding the back of Maki's Abarth A112 and relegating her to the pit lane. Yeah, it's the Suzuki Swift engine in that Jimny, which ups it from the 63 horsepower from stock to 137 base. There's a battle of sisters going on for P6. Nepgear and Neptune battling. Nepgear will be victorious there. I believe that's her taking the place rather than defending it. And Compa has taken the lead, also representing the same Planetune Racing that those two sisters are. So Compa's found her groove lately, especially in the lower categories such as this, in her 240Z. As O'Donnell has already overtaken one of the two S14s, and now right on the back of the second one. And I think she's got a pretty good run out of that hairpin, so she should have a chance at her here. So we see the line of cars running down the back straightaway. Riho is looking to get more places. That thing is very light and has a lot of horsepower. I don't even know if we BOP or if we really balanced this thing properly, to be perfectly honest with you. Up into 8th for the Jimny, up into 5th possibly for the Integra. She gets around the outside of Noir on the exit of the chicane, and around the outside of Gemini and the S13. No S15 in this race though, so we do not complete the set. Hold on, I think it was just her beeping at her boyfriend up there in the other Integra. I mean, if they are a couple. Around the outside, Joseph Miller putting up not a whole lot of resistance to her, or to his girlfriend. I always do that, I don't know why. And now one more Integra to overtake for Sarah O'Donnell, the very asymmetrical 1985 model from Pepper Mills. But oh, this contact. Pepper a little eager on the brakes there, I would say. But that doesn't stop the VTuber from getting into second place. Now Riho is looking to mix things up with the top half. Outdrags Nepgear, basically embarrassing her. And Noir and Gemini all in a row. This thing is insane in a straight line. What on earth? Relative for the 600 class, 147 at this track is unreasonably quick. Even our two leaders, Compa and O'Donnell, are probably not going to be getting too close to that. the final lap. I'd say it's about 3 seconds separating the two leaders. But O'Donnell seems to have quite the hot hand today. She might be able to reel that in the middle sector here. Just about. Yeah, I think Compa got a little complacent through that sector, and now O'Donnell is right there. Gonna take to the outside. Contact, almost putting the Integra in the grass absent-mindedly is the 240 driver, but still not being held back. Around the outside, not the best results given to the Integra, but still keeping her nose there. This will be a drag race that'll take us up the hill towards the chicane, it seems. The cars seem pretty evenly matched on the straight, maybe a slight edge given to the 240Z. But the better run given to the Integra. At the braking zone, who decides to be fearless? Oh, they both are, oh my lord. They're both at a dead heat, cutting through the grass of the Integra, just to try and make sure there's no more additional contact made. Final turn up to the line. I think the advantage goes to the Cat Girl, and it does, but not by much. About 2/10 in it. Going to the way of the 98 Integra over the 240Z. And a debut for Riho, to say the least, in her 600 class Suzuki fucking Jimny, grabbing a podium spot at the last. Pepper Mills also debuting her Integra for 4th place. Beating one of the two Integras, but could not beat the other one. Nobody could. To get from there to there in 4 laps is obscene. And that is, yeah, it's basically, there's nobody else to look at. Logan got into the back of Hakurai at the chicane. That was not shown on the screen, but I remember that, just hearing about that. There's just a miscommunication and a bit of a traffic jam. I was just distracted by Discord there, but yeah, that'll wrap things up. A pretty commanding debut for Riho to get from, I believe, like 15th to 3rd or something like that. Obviously overshadowed by O'Donnell, but can't really completely forget that the Jimny went absolutely insane with that replacement engine there. But, yeah, 3-4 on debuting cars today, so definitely a lot better place to debut a car than, well, what it was at the beginning of the week. Gina turned everything around, clearly. And to round off the week, we head to Watkins Glen for the roulette race. It seems like we were just here, but we actually weren't. I was gonna say in real life, outside of the challenge series anyway, for something else, but that's besides the point. Yeah, the roulette race takes us here, a track that does multi-class racing in real life, so it generally accommodates that well. And I believe this is Sunset. You'd think I'd know, I'm the one who set up the race, but my memory is terrible. And a lot of times I've made that estimation, I've usually been wrong. So, if it's actually sunrise, don't be too surprised. Bars. And we are away from the Glen. And if we thought there were a lot of Hondas in the last race, that was nothing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Hondas. Yes, 8 Hondas out of a 12-car grid. That might be a record for one manufacturer. Outside of like specialized events like Stars and Stripes, and we used to do those all the time. The one debuting car is Sarah O'Donnell, now has a, what she I believe is referred to as a Superpower S2000. Like her friend Raven has, same category and everything, although very different specs, stuff they've been built to. And I believe that is the only debuting car here. Yes. And the onboard driver is Taro Kitano in his Mustang. He is already almost into the top 10 in his 675 class car. So he could take the fight to the 715s if he's really on his stuff today. But that won't necessarily be the expectation, it's just a possibility. Now into the top 10 ahead of the admin Midori. And speaking of Raven, she's really taking her time getting to where that car should be. Now, this is relatively common in roulette races. No cars in the top class. The 715s here, as we're seeing spread across the whole top 3, are the entirety of like the highest category here. And there are a few of them. There are, I believe, 5. Shoji, Fenny, and then the top 3. As Taro's kind of been following Fenny through the field. He's not been able to work out a pass on her, but he hasn't had any reason to because she's been making passes herself, and Taro has been able to take advantage. Case in point, she's going to get out of Aspinall there into the bus stop, and that's going to force her to change her line, allowing Taro to follow in succession. If we can hold it on the outside here at the carousel, which it looks like he just might. Mustang versus Mustang for, I believe it would be 3rd in the category, and Taro is going to win that. Almost crashing to the back of the Camaro. Shoji's going to also overtake Aspinall at this moment. Dragging the S2000, and that's going to that's going to compromise O'Donnell's line, and guess what? Taro will take advantage of that. Or try. That'll get him, if he can get it done, to 2nd in the category. And now we're just cutting through traffic like it's Midnight Club or something. Taro again follows Fenny ahead of Xena to take the lead of the category. I didn't really know Taro had that kind of teamwork baked in. He doesn't really seem like a cooperative type usually. He's now gonna... Fenny has outlived her usefulness to him though, but not quite able to pass up. Puts the bumper to the Camaro, and that's gonna get him ahead. Bit of a bump and run. I guess we are at a NASCAR track, so it's not out of the question. Meanwhile, Taro's teammate in the class above him, Bert Wheeler, thankfully with no Demon Sports drivers in sight for him to decide to just take his frustration out on, ahead of Liza Kaiser heading through turn 1, and can go after fellow Chevrolet driver in the form of Barbara. Well, it didn't take him long to get there. One straightaway later, and he's already up to the back of that Corvette, and looking for a way ahead of it. Meanwhile, Taro is also up to the back of Kaiser. He's going to look for a move of his own, heading towards the boot section. That's looking to be successful. Liza just kind of laid over for him, honestly. At least what it looked like from my view. Taro's even kind of encroaching on Bert's territory. He's still trying to find a way past his main opponent. With a run like that, though, it looks like he might have just found it. Down the inside, big contact made. So it's not just Demon Sports cars that Bert seems to be magnetically attracted to colliding with. But he will sneak ahead of the Corvette into the race lead, just past the halfway mark of the day. Yeah, I mean, that's correct. And again, Taro will follow him through. Talk about picking up the pieces. And they may just kind of sit and take their winnings here, the Scorchers teammates. Might. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me again. And no, they're not. Taro is going to try and go for a pass, actually, heading up the Essence, which is scary, to say the least. He does. He clears the overall leader. He's now the overall leader, in basically a Category 2 car. What the hell? We've not seen an upset like this in a while. It'll be interesting to see if Taro can be the first to pull it off in quite a while. Vert shoots around the outside of the bus stop, though. He's not going to go quietly. And considering the performance difference between these two cars, but also the skill difference, or at least the pace difference overall, relatively speaking, he might be here for a while between these two. Yeah, Vert's he's gonna get away with the lead here, heading through the boot section. Taro's not able to find an answer just yet, but sideways from the Camaro, we are still gonna have 2.5 laps of racing from here. So, still everything to play for, but they need to kind of be mindful not to take too long. And they certainly can't make any contact with one another, because otherwise Barbara is still there. She's still no more than 1.5 seconds away. If these two fuck around, and they will find out pretty quickly. The night falls here at Watkins Glen, which confirms that was indeed sunset when we took the green. Still battling, 2 laps to go from Watkins Glen. And for a lot of cars, it may be the final lap that they're coming to here. I feel this very spread out. Around the outside again. I feel like I'm getting deja vu from that maneuver. Can Taro stay ahead through the bus stop, though? That's the more crucial element. He has the lead, but he has to stay there. And Vert's not just going to let go, I reckon. He does retain the lead through the bus stop. If he can get a good middle section, or continue this middle section, he might be able to create some breathing room between him and his teammate Vert Wheeler. Down to the boot we go. With what's essentially a second carousel that's just not named the carousel for some reason. It is pitch black. Headlights are the only thing we've got left to go by at this point. You can just see the amount of darkness. This Vert is approaching quickly. It's going to be an outbraking attempt. It's not going to get Taro anywhere. Vert's going to return to the race lead with just a lap and change left. A minute left on the race timer. I thought they made contact there, but that's just Vert sliding around as he's trying to stay ahead of his team owner, of Taro. Team owner, but they're not working together. They're fighting this out tooth and nail to take the overall victory from the Glen. Vert continuing to step the car out as he attempts to push away from a driver in a car a class beneath him. Are we going to see another repeated move around the outside of the S's? Does not seem like it. I think he's a little too far back to see that. Oh, it's going to be the second half. He's going to sneak down the inside. They make contact, but nothing major. Taro back to the lead, taking it for a 4th time, I believe. Time has expired, so some other grid has already finished the race. But it's really hard to really go back and look at that as we are, you still got everything to play for here for the overall victory. I think the category victors have pretty much been determined by this point. Taro will be winning 675 and Vert should be winning 715. But we still have yet to figure out in what order they'll cross the stripe in. We might have an upset. Taro's got a lead. It's not a huge one, but it's a lead. And it doesn't matter how much you win by, you just gotta win to be the winner. Duh. There's the Department of Redundancy department. Taro takes a defensive line. I hate this camera. They could really scrape each other's paint off as they head towards the end of the boot. Vert with the better line. Oh, he's getting his elbows out. He's forcing Taro almost off the circuit by going wide on the apex. Around the outside again. Guess what? That's the inside now. More contact, but nothing major. Just enough to say it's contact. That's a good exit from the Mustang. And victory for Taro Kitano over his teammate Burt Wheeler. And my god. See what happens, Vert, when you don't just, like, wreck the nearest car? And Defendi will recover to a last-second third-place effort, so 2, 3, 4 for Corvettes. That's a weird-looking Corvette raker. 2, 3, 4 for Chevrolets in this race. A better showing for Gina here as she gets second in class with her FCRX-7. Debuting her S2000, Sarah O'Donnell gets fourth in class. I'm getting gas. The very small 640 class is won by Veronica Katsuragi. Only, I believe, 3 cars in it. And the similarly sized 3-car class of 600 is won by Riho Futaba in her Suzuki Jimny with the Swift engine. Their race ended a while ago, though, so... As the tail, like, you know, the middle part of the 675 class, the last ones to finish their race, but, you know, the race was about to end, so that will wrap things up here for week 115 in the Challenge Series, once the replay cameras decide to actually show me something good. Hey, we've had 2 sides of the coin today. We've either had races get called, well, we've had the Tokyo race. We had 2 races where people wrecked each other, but we had 3 really close finishes to the start-finish line. 2 of the 3 races today were settled in the... all 3 of the 5 races today were settled in the final corner. With Fuji and Stephanie getting just enough momentum out of the final turn to stay in the lead. With O'Donnell having to hang around the outside of Compa to hang on to the lead to win at Road Atlanta. And now Taro sending it around the last 2 corners to get ahead of Vert on the exit of the last turn to win the race. So, yeah, the action is non-stop here in the Challenge Series. Even when we got rivalries brewing all over the place, we've got like 3 different groups of people that don't like each other. Cam and 24 Racing Team seem to be at odds. There's this whole clan war basically between Demon Sports and Scorchers. And luckily this week you get a break from RS's bullshit, but that's about the only thing we lacked this week, all things considered.